the engineering, the basic engineering, what we learn, that remains same.
Don't look at computers, AI, etc. Civil engineers are must, mandatory, and your role will be much, much more bigger than any software engineer or any other engineers.
So I'm from the Tata Projects. We are in a EPC contracting company. We are building large projects, mega projects. I came from infrastructure background. I started my career, so I will touch what civil engineering I faced during my starting of career and what I seen right now. When I started my career, we are more focused about the delivering the individual project more efficiently, safely, and time bound. But now that time has changed. Now there are different aspects, different new technology has come into the picture. The mega structures are happening, new launching girders, new structures, new jack-up platforms. Also, those are all new technology, or say TBM machines, if you think of the metro tunnels. So these new technology from the equipment side. So the large of, or say more machinerized, we are machine oriented. The second thing, the next aspect is about the quality work, predictable delivery. So those are more in a planning phase. We are more predictable now. We can deliver the project where complex in a nature to to some extent, or say we are more gone into the technology driven side, say BIM modeling, which is giving you the detailing, interdisciplinary engineering. So so basically it is an isolated single project to we are now talking about the mega projects in a predictable manner.
Personally, from last 23 years, I am with consultants designing and engineering of ports and harbors, which is altogether a specialized field in civil engineering. So recently I shifted my career to client side, JSW Infra. The civil engineering has changed drastically in last 20 years. I assure you, and I tell you, you will have great future in civil engineering. Don't look at probably I'm little bit ambitious. Don't look at computers, AI, etc. You will have great future in civil engineering, because recently in one of the speeches, our honorable Prime Minister has said, when the world is in rough seas, it will look for a steady lighthouse, and India is ready to be that lighthouse. And for India to be that lighthouse for a rough sea condition, civil engineers are must, mandatory, and your role will be much, much more bigger than any software engineer or any other engineers. Please make up your mind to be civil engineers for next 40 years. Yesterday from JW Consultant sir has said high-rise buildings of 300 meters. Now I would like you to imagine a ship, a 500 meter long, 500 meters, half of the distance from here to IIT gate, half a kilometer long, 50 meter wide and 20 meter deep. Probably this may be 10-15 meters, a bit higher than this. That body is moving in water, and you have to provide shelter for that. So that is what a port is called. And when that comes to the platform, it hits, and then the force that it will be generating, you might be knowing potential energy, kinetic energy, all those things you might be reading. When the moving object of 500 meter long, 50 meter wide, 20 meter deep comes with a small velocity of 0.1 meters per second and hits a concrete structure, then the entire thing may collapse. So what port engineers do is that structure should not be collapsing. So, and then the structure will be having wave forces, current forces, wind forces, what I said, accidental berthing, and the vessel they have to move it to that, those things, all those things will make the port engineering as a different branch of civil engineering, but part of civil engineering. Finally, it is a civil engineering. So, for you students to make career, you may have to take one step forward beyond graduation. So you have to do post graduation in port engineering, preferably, not mandatorily, and it has the port engineering is in 4 5 colleges across India. One is IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur, NIT Surathkal, NIT Calicut, and Andhra University. These 5 institutes, as I know, there may be other maritime universities also may be teaching port engineering. So for you to make career in port engineering, which is quite challenging, I would say. So you try to do your post graduation in marine engineering and get into the career. And as I said, India has very few colleges in port engineering, and the less number of people, the more demand they will have. And I assure you that you will be getting good salaries in port engineering once you are mastered from that.
Thank you so much. So, I mean, on similar lines, the message which we are trying to give here is that end of the day, it's a demand and supply game, right? I mean, the last panel also, there was this discussion going on. As students, if you're interested in, say, specializing in one sector, so the whole idea is that during your undergrad, you try to explore different sectors. You go to ports, you go to roads, you go to highways, you go to buildings, and so on. Figure out that this is something which interests you and try to develop in-depth knowledge of that. And that is something then you have some skill sets which no one else is offering. And the moment you do that, you are likely to get paid higher. I'll come to you and try to understand from JSW when you're doing heavy civil projects, right? So similar to ports, do you also have some specific skill sets in mind which students can build so that they have a very specialized skill set which makes them more valuable when they go to industry?
So it's a cement and steel game, again the construction means, but something different. So you need to have in a different scenario because ports are in a marine construction. So you need to check what is the tidal variation, waves, wind, force, and what is accessible in a say ground. It is not so easy in a marine condition. So apart from your engineering, some different aspect comes into the picture. So how I can build it? Okay, so that in first session we talk about the collaborative approach. So those things, how we can use the machinery in a better way. So that is about the construction in a port sector. Different, again, your basic civil knowledge, or say it will not go, say if you choose the port engineering, it will not go away. So you require a geotechnical, you require a structure, everything. So what we learn in a, say, strength of material, theory of structure, that will remain entire of life. So that you have to remind in your mind that this will remain as it is. So that is one. So that is about the port structure. So coming to the other infrastructure project, we recently completed Atal Setu. You must be knowing, everybody, that is 22-kilometer marine structure we completed within the time frame. So it is a pre-stressed concrete structure. So prefab, that technology we will cover in a later session. But so entire superstructure, that concrete part we fabricate, or say we precast in a casting yard. So a lot of engineering is required because there is a super elevation, gradient, so those curvatures, so those things, and we cast in a segment manner. So it's a 3-meter segment, and we fabricate it and actually stitch into with the pre-tension. Okay, so post-tension steel. So that is there is some steel structures which is almost span is 180 meter. We fabricated outside India in a small part. We cargo it in a JNPT. We assembled it. We make a bigger block like a 180 meter. We lift it and we place it in the location. So this is a process. But the engineering, the basic engineering, what we learn in our graduation, post graduation, so that remains same. It is only the applications, how we applied our knowledge, how we use the machinery, so that will remain same. So basic, what you are getting, the message is that what you are gaining the knowledge from the universities, that will remain with you your lifelong. So how to apply it, that is only the challenge, and we need to apply that. So these are the mega sector we are completing, or say metro tunnels with the machinery. So you think the mega projects, lot of machinery is coming. So you don't restrict your knowledge in your core fields, but you please open your eyes, you take the knowledge of the machinery, their output, productivity, scheduling. So that will help to.
I'll just add to, so can you just maybe also talk about, so we talked about in-depth knowledge, right? That say ports is one sector where they can get in-depth knowledge. But then there is also an aspect of multidisciplinary knowledge where you need to have more breadth, not in detail knowledge of everything, but some basic understanding. So I think you're heading to that. So can you add to that, that as civil engineers, what are the different sectors or different infrastructure components which we should be aware of, so that when it comes to a real mega project, it's not just civil. There are a lot of other elements, instrumentation and so on. So can you just talk about those?
Yeah. So for mega projects or mega structures, not only the civil, as rightly said, there are other, say, right from your data collection, what is survey is important, geotechnical is more important, seismic analysis, seismic knowledge is important. Then you come to your scheduling. Scheduling part is what is the output of individual or say productivity. We call it as a productivity. How much man force is required, that how many manpower is required, or what machinery is required, right machinery. So those are interconnected knowledge. So which equipment is used? So if basalt is there, which equipment is required to drill the pile or the foundation? Which excavator is required? So those are the basic knowledge we need to apply. So what is your class 1 rock? We studied in the our college days. So but what is the strength and how we will correlate is this? So those are, we need to say, so it's a mechanical subject? No, it is related to the civil. So basically we need to collaborate with the other division or other engineering. So like say in underground, there are a lot of instrumentation is required to slope stability, what is the settlement, because lot of metro tunnels are within the city limits. The structures are very old. So we need to restrict our deflection or settlement criteria. So lot of these instrumentation is required. Again, the monitoring of the progress. So lot of computerized data inputs or real-time data is required. So those we can correlate what is we have learned, or say we are taking the knowledge from the academia, that we can apply there. Again, there is a multidisciplinary, so it's a data center. The civil structure is hardly 10 to 15%, mechanical, chillers, that the electrical. So those are major components. So like say in underground metro, your ventilation is also more required. So that how you will, or in a pumping station or in a port area, some of the dry docks, those are we are using to pump the water outside. Or say, so when in a metro tunnel underground, we need to pump the water. What is the seepage water coming? So again, the seepage is the geological part. What is the permeability? So we need to calculate. The mechanical comes into the picture. How will throw that water outside? So these things are interlinked. So don't restrict your knowledge up to the civil engineer. So you please correlate with the other. You correlate your problem with the other that engineering branch. Okay, so those things. So basically, it is not only the civil engineering. And last, now it's the BIM modeling. Okay, so that BIM is building information modeling. So up to 100, 200, or say 400, 500. So that link with the schedule also. So equipment data. So that everything is interlinked. So you will get that picture clear. You can create a better, rework will be less and more quality work. So nowadays, Precast has a advantage, better quality control and better quality of the concrete, and the productivity is increased. I will give the two examples. One is underground, one is elevated structures. So in elevated metro or say bridge, or say I have given a few minutes back the example of the Atal Setu. So we casted entire deck in a segment manner, 3.5 meter based on the geometry, and we placed using the launching gantries, the huge machines suspended, and again we glue it with the epoxy. So now your chemical engineering in a picture, your precasting civil, basic civil in a picture. I'm using the gantries, so that mechanical will be in a picture. So entire thing, and the mechanical gantries run on a electrical. So again the electrical engineering is also in a picture. So that entire world is not moving in a single. So it is it's a collaborative effort. So I will talk about the metro stations. Earlier days, those are cast in situ, required huge manpower, supporting systems. So now we have done almost all precast. Only other than the foundations and the substructure, which called as a pier supporting structure, everything is the precast. Even the pier cap is the precast, main girders are precast, every element is the precast. So now, because the precast will give me the good quality, good work, faster construction. So those in the tunnel also, the same thing. We are using the TBM for the metro tunnels. The lining for that is also precast. So I'm saying that the technology changed from the conventional or say traditional, because the other industries also evolve. So those have a machinery. So we are using in our industry.
Thank you so much. So it's interesting to know. I mean, if you have traveled to metro stations, right? Those metro stations are actually precast now. So a lot of that was constructed somewhere else, and then they have been brought here, assembled, and then we are talking about Atal Setu. The bridge decks are also precast. Can you talk about some other technologies or materials in ports construction which you have seen to be a game changer in terms of managing time, cost, safety, quality? And also talk about resilience and sustainability to include that.
Probably I will continue where Sir has stopped. So the precast construction will be much more important in marine field than on land. Imagine precast will be saving the time, but if you are working on sea, which is 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away from the shore, you cannot transport the shutters and then install them and then reinstall them, and they will be falling into the sea. It is impossible actually. So we will be using precast members, but of course the design will be done accordingly. And second is if you have heard any time about breakwaters, so they will be the structures which will be giving calmness to the port. They will make waters calm inside the port for operations. The traditional way of building breakwaters is let's say rubble mound. Like the famous breakwater I would say is Ram Setu between India and Sri Lanka, which was built thousands of years back. So that is the traditional wave breaking structure used across the world. But the recent trends are structural breakwaters. You use the steel tubular piles, you use the cellular structures, and then precast armors over and above these rocks, because rocks will have limitation. I will get 6 ton of rock. Then we will be having now precast concrete armor units, which are acropods, tetrapods, etc. if you are anytime heard. So we will be casting them. They are of course from outside. One is French, one is Dutch, etc. But we will have our own Indian units. I am expecting them in recent as early as possible. So these are the things. And one more important thing is cellular structures, which we are using for the construction of berths and breakwaters. So they will make, instead of doing in situ piling and then deck, etc., it is simply bring the sheet piles and drive them. And particularly in if you have heard about Hazira, which is where the tidal elevation is around 12 to 15 meters, means if you are standing on the deck, you will be seeing, one time you have to see the ship there, and one time you have to see you will not be able to see the ship. It will go so much down because of water changes. So there we will be using steel tubular pile construction. So these are the various innovations coming to the civil engineering field, replacing concrete, and then replacing cement, and then replacing carbon footprint, reducing carbon footprint. So all these things, latest innovations are coming, but much more innovations are yet to become.
Thank you so much. So one key takeaway from our side or student side is, when you hear all these words, right, that breakwater, cellular structure, prefabrication, steel tubular types, just imagine that after or during your graduation, right, if you develop expertise in some of these things, and then you go to any of these companies, JSW, Tata Projects, L&T, who are into ports construction, right, they will value you a lot more than they value any other student. So it's more of deciding that which sector we want to go into, which field we want to go into, and develop more and more expertise in that. You try to take elective courses in that area, you try to take NPTEL videos in that area, and so on. Some of these students say they come and meet you after 2 years and they say that, "Yeah, we have listened to you and we have developed these 3 skill sets. Can you hire us?" So what are those 3 skill sets you feel if they learn and they execute them well, you will be more than willing to take them and also pay, say, 10-20% extra?
You know, how many of you know about port? There is a field called port engineering, and very few people. And I have friends who are into who are designing flights. Do you know a civil engineer will be designing flights? Any of you know? Not airports. Civil engineers will design flights also, and civil engineers will be designing drones also, and spacecrafts. So because they have to use lightweight materials, they have to check the structural stability of the flights, drones and aircraft, so that they can easily move. So one port sector, I would say definitely we would love to have specialization in that field. And again, port sector has different, every civil engineering has 3 categories. One is design, one is construction, that is execution, and third is management. So for any of these structures, particularly only design wise, probably people will be looking for masters, and execution and management wise again people will be looking for specialization in management, which is from IIT sir, and then NICMAR etc. are there. Whereas for execution, directly graduates can be taken. So it is for you to decide where you want to stop the study and where you want to start the career.
Fair point. Same question, that 3 skill sets which you are always looking for in candidates, right? So that these 3 things, if they have, and I understand that these skill sets are different if they're into a management role versus a design role, but can you just give a broader idea that if some student is willing to go into one particular sector, what type of skill sets they can work on?
Even though you go in a design, definitely design is required. But if you choose your career into the execution part, because execution is something you are creating, which is last long for the next decades. Okay, so that is also a wonderful field, but design aspect you don't forget. So now I am a creator, so now I am a execution man, so no design is required. No, so you required your day in and out. Design is must, and my advice to you is that don't as much you take knowledge as much you can. So design is must in execution also, design must in a planning also. That basically sir has distributed. But say if you want to make a career in a mega structure, so there is I will say that, or say mega projects, there are 3 phases. One is the planning phase. You can choose the planning phase. There is a say survey or say geotechnical field. So geotechnical students, those who want to do their post graduation in the geotechnical, they can choose that field, or say, so that is also very wide and vast. So a lot of career opportunities there on the geotechnical side. Data is must to create a wonderful structure. The foundation is required very strong. So those geotechnical survey, that mapping, so those I will say that from that foundation part. So coming to your design part is always required. So there are a lot of softwares are required. You can learn the software. That is a tool to enhance your design knowledge. In mega structures, say like bridges or say special projects, you can adopt, or say in a tunnels or the structure. So that structural knowledge is required for the design. Execution, again I am saying that, so you can say foundation experts or say superstructure experts. Coming to the superstructure is a prefab, then modular type, or say pre-stress. You can do the career with the pre-stress, and that again the execution for say actual execution part, or say so those things. So I will say that 3, you need to choose your career based on your likings. So there is an opportunity in the industry. So you cannot say that okay, so that if you want to do as a material experts, or say your material knowledge, so there is a lot of material is required. So in a bridge you require the bearings, so which actually the neoprenes and the PTFE. So those are used in the bridge structure, say, or surfacing for the bitumen, so that is used. So every field there is an application in the industry. You can choose based on your liking.
Do you want to add something? No. Okay. There is another question which I understand a lot of students have, that there is this perennial problem of industries looking for experienced people and freshers are looking for a role in civil engineering where companies end up asking for more experience. So as industry and academia, I mean, when we are sitting together, right, how can we bridge this gap either in some fashion where during graduation itself we try to impart some more internship or remote knowledge projects and so on, so that students, they cannot be qualified to be an experienced person but still has more industry knowledge. Secondly, how can students be more proactive in finding internships and relevant jobs, and are companies willing to offer internship positions and so on? Because I understand that a lot of them have this problem that when you apply, people are looking for experienced people, and especially if you're applying to planning roles and these roles, you want experience to be there. But for one to have experience, they should have a job first. So how do we solve this vicious loop?
In the earlier session also, my colleague from JSW has indicated that during the studies itself, you be proactive with doing lot of internships. I know most of the students will be having internship in the third year end, right? But after second year also you will be getting 2 months holidays. So you go for internship. I also advised my son to go for internship after second year also. I advised even after first year also, which he didn't listen, of course. But second year I will push him for internship somewhere. So you also do the same thing. You get hands-on experience during the study itself. That would be the best advice. And during the interview when you completed the graduation, generally, personally, I have done lot of interviews and I didn't expect any wonders from a fresher as such. I want basic knowledge. I just make ensure that he has not enjoyed during his 4 years bachelor life. He has put some effort to complete engineering and he has some basic knowledge. Yes, you come to the market with basic knowledge of engineering, people will be ready. And then India, as a lot of times we are hearing, will be poised to grow exponentially in next couple of years. And apart from Indian corporates, there are lot of MNCs, huge companies from outside are setting up their global capability centers, global design centers. You might be hearing about lot of GCCs etc. in software, but they are not only in software, they are there in civil also. There are a lot of companies, foreign companies establishing their GCCs and GDCs in India. They will be getting their employees do foreign projects as well as Indian projects. So that way there is no dearth of opportunities for civil engineers in India. Yes, the initial pay packages may be low, but definitely requirement is there. You enter civil engineering, the time you grab experience in the field, the more pay you will get. That I can say.
Even though you have chose for the design or say structural design field based on your interest, so you try to get the actual industry knowledge. Now that the experience, when you join as a junior to the any industry, even for the consultant, don't expect they will give say huge structures or say special structures in a day one to design. So you have to start with very, very small things. For the execution, so you have to learn lot of things and keep your eyes open, and you take a collaborative approach. You discuss with your friends, your colleagues, your seniors. You ask every time why and how it is done. So I think that openness is required.
Along jobs, right? Another aspect is, which was covered in the previous session, was around pay. That pays are considered to be lower. I have one way of believing it is that these are all cyclic things. So probably we are in that cycle where the pay for civil engineering is low, and if we believe that civil engineering will exist, the pays will go higher. Having said that, my question to you was that is pay low because the students or the graduates are not skilled, or is pay low because supply is more? Because one is that you feel that they're not skilled yet and they need to learn a lot more skill sets, then only the company can pay them higher. Second aspect is that users feel that there is enough supply anyway, why should we pay higher to anyone? So what do you think?
What I think, because we are comparing with the other industry first. We are comparing with the IT. Their needs are different. Okay, there maybe the supply is low, demand is high, so they are paying. So their clients are maybe global clients. The manpower requirements of good manpower is not available, so they are outsourcing it. So, but if you see the civil industry, what people are gaining, say 10 years back, now what you are gaining. So I think that's the sizable packages for the freshers. Okay, so now what we are saying that, so freshers, the companies are looking, so those are, say, we are molding them what we required, or as a corporate required, or as the execution persons required. So if you choose your field, so I'm saying that choosing of the field is I think that is the basic. You need to think what is you are liking. Say you want to go in a design, develop your structural expertise, take a more knowledge, hands-on your software. So that will add your CVs or resume when you approach to the company.
My question was, I mean, so I come from project background. So say an engineer comes to you and says that I can help you complete this project 2 months earlier than schedule, keeping quality and other things in mind. Do you think industry will be more than happy to pay that person a delta extra because they have a skill set which will help in this? Or do you think that there is enough supply and no one wants to pay more anyway?
No, definitely people, company will pay you slightly higher. I'm not saying that 1.2 times or 3 times, but definitely they will check what skill set you have. Definitely that skill sets are required. Say if sir is saying that the monitoring or say commercial aspects or say monitoring skills, so you need to have an idea how we can say productivity will increase. So that idea, that you need to convince that, and definitely they will give more.
Definitely, I will agree with sir that people with right qualifications and right skill set will definitely get higher pay from the starting. And as I said, of course, as the sir said, the software thing about outsourcing and etc. The same thing is happening in GDCs and GCCs as well now, because what is happening, like if we as Indians join an Indian firm and quoting for Indian projects, probably we will be getting money in INR. Whereas the GDCs and GCCs generally what they do is they will be outsourcing their foreign work to India. So that's way you will be learning global knowledge also. You will be acquiring global knowledge also. Our Indian codes, our NBCs, etc. Apart from that, you will be learning Euro codes, American codes, Australian codes, etc. Which also open doors for you to become global, to become international. Like you might be seeing and envying your software friends. Those opportunities are now there for civil engineers as well. I would say that.
Yeah, a lot of companies are coming where you are actually based in India, but you are working for an MNC or a collaborate. You're designing projects for people who are sitting in US. So then in a way that company there is earning in dollars, so they are bound to pay you slightly more. I think we'll wrap up now with just one last question, which is for, from a student point as well as from academician, we want to know, according to you, do you think the current academic system provides enough practical exposure, and is there something which academia can look into to develop more, which will make students industry ready?
Yes, I would say with the academy is perfectly at its place, teaching you the required courses, which is necessary courses required by the industry. No doubt in that. The only thing which I stressed in my other presentations as well is the collaboration between academy and industry. So that is very important, because when we did our engineering, probably we do not have any internships. It is a 3.5 years course plus 6 months project under the guide. That's it. So there is no way we see industry or factory or go for internship. But now you are getting those opportunities. Even in second year, even in third year, you will be getting, and you can also proactively go for internships in between besides your courses. So that way academy is at its perfect place, and it is catering for the requirements of industry, I would say. Only collaboration is required.
Okay, thank you. Same question to you, that what can academia do to...
Students should ask to the academicians that, so some projects are going on, those you can say scroll into news, or you can say what WhatsApp, now people are social media, so you can ask the question related to those projects to the academician, so they will give the answer. Now it is not a one-way communication. You also hungry about what is the information, what technology they are using, so that professor also ready to give your answer.
I think a fair point that, I mean, if there is a demand, then obviously we cannot back out. We will have to answer your question. So it's a good idea, right? That, I mean, if someone is teaching you foundation engineering, you ask them that how are they creating this foundation for the sport, that's a marine structure, what are the new technicalities into it. So you have taught us the basics, but then what extra things we need to know if we want to do a foundation design, and so on and so forth. With that, you want to add something?
I will add, like when I am doing my masters in port engineering, one day my professor took me to the port, and I don't know, there is almost a 30-meter pile is there lying on it, precast pile. I don't know it is a pile. So coming to the same thing, so if at all you raise the question what is the pile, I want to see the pile. I always thought when I am studying geotechnical engineering, pile is like a cricket wicket only. It's quite small. It is a 60-meter long when I saw it. So like that.
Yeah, I mean, so all of us, people who have worked in industry, right, will have some experiences, because when I went to my first project site, I saw people are walking inside the beam and tying stirrups. For me, beam was always something which is outside and people will be doing something, right? But then it was a 1 meter depth beam and you see people inside, and they used to have checks and balances where before you start concreting, there used to be a safety manager who goes inside the beam and checks there should be no one inside. So such are the protocols which are being followed. So with that, I think we are coming closer to the end of the session. We'll end. Just one point from my side is we have been doing this discussion around civil engineering versus IT pay and so on. I have a point to make that I have friends around, I have my seniors who are in their 40s now. I've seen I've seen people who are in their 40s now with IT and CS background who are worrying about their jobs, job security and so on because of a lot of new technologies coming. Students, graduates, engineers in civil, core, mechanical and so on, right? I've never seen anyone who has 10 or 15 years of experience and is worrying about job. So let's have a life cycle view of some of these things. Maybe our value, our pay right now might be lower because of some reasons and so on. But let's look at the bigger picture, right? Because you will not retire at 40. So we are not talking about fire here. So let's see that if I build my skill set for next 10 years, will I still be relevant? There are people in ITCS who are probably not relevant anymore because of a lot of new things which are coming. So let's keep that in mind, and with that point, we'll close the discussion now. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the panelists.